The next time you get out the house, I want you to do something. I want you to find a store that you like, or a grocery store, wherever you want to go. No, let's take that back. Let's not look at a grocery store. And I'll tell you why here in a second. That's a commodity type of retail, and I don't want to go that direction. This is primarily for those who have a service or a product that they can sell that has both an intrinsic value and also a perceived value. And I'll explain what that is here in a second. First, I want you to understand what I want you to do on breaking this down. Find a store and look at the interface of the store. When you look at the interface of the store, these are the things that you see on the exterior. So the things that a client or a customer can see for themselves. Look at the pricing. Look at the breakdown on what they're offering you. Even if you get a pamphlet, or if you're looking at the menu and you're driving through the Burger King or McDonald's drive-through, or wherever it is you like to shop or eat, go and look at the menu. What you're going to see is three things: an entry, a core, and a premium. Your entry is going to be what's going to be attractive. It's probably cheap. It's not very expensive. It's a quick dollar to be made that's going to be inside there to kind of help you transition into your core. Your core is going to be the things that people typically order or purchase, or the service they constantly get. It's how you determine how much money you're making on the average, or how much money is going to be brought into your company, because that's the core thing that you sell. And then of course you have the premium. This is not going to sell as much as the core, but it produces a lot more money whenever it is sold. So let's look at Burger King real quick. Okay, so Burger King is going to have a value menu. Okay, $1.50 for some fries, or some kind of quick edible item. Your core would be the sandwich. Let's say the double Whopper with cheese. Let's add some bacon. And then your premium would be the meal itself. So that's ordering your burger, the Coke, and the fries, everything all together. Hey, you're gonna save 17 cents if you buy this, right? But they're giving you a premium, they're giving you a core, and they're giving you a value. All right, so all of those, and the value is going to be your entry. So excuse me, you have the premium and the core, and then you have your entry. All three of those are going to be on that menu. And if you start looking at all stores that sell things that has an intrinsic and perceived value, you'll realize they all use the same concept. Intrinsic value is the actual value of an item. So let's say this pen that I'm using, it's actually an Apple pen. This Apple pen is worth $75, and the intrinsic value would be, it probably took, let's say, $40 to make. And I know that the retail value on it is $75. That's its actual value that's inside of it. It does a number of things for me. And I know that if I sold this to someone, my profit would be $40, $45, whatever it would be on my markup. But let's say someone else has been looking for this particular model because they have an older model Apple iPad, and this is the only Apple Pencil that goes to it, and they can't find them no more because they're hard to find. Well, the value of this Apple Pen just went up to that person because they don't want to lose any of their data that's in their current iPad. They've been having it since high school. They use it in college. They had it when they got married. They got all these pictures that's been saved. They don't know how to get into the Apple. You get the stress. The value of this pen just went up. So the perceived value, which is what we're looking at now, the perceived value to the individual that's in need of this is a lot greater to that individual than the actual intrinsic value. Does that make sense? So that guy will probably pay for an Apple Pencil that's probably worth $40. He'll pay $100 because the value to him is a lot greater than the actual value of the Apple Pencil because of his situation and scenario. So what I'm saying is, if you understand perceived and intrinsic value, you can kind of determine how you can set up your entry, core, and premium sales and service to help build perceived value and understand intrinsic value. And trying to get them to align is not necessarily the goal. It's more making sure the value of the person that's looking for that item or service sees it in a way where they see, I'm willing to pay for that particular service. I'm willing to pay for that particular item. That's the whole goal of understanding the intrinsic and perceived value. Now that we understand what intrinsic value and perceived value are, and we know that we're going to include a entry, core, and a premium service or product, let's talk more about how do we determine or how can we increase our perceived value to a client. That's great. So here's a secret that I think everyone should know, so it probably shouldn't even be a secret, but I'm gonna tell you what we use, and it's been consistent and it always works because we're built this way. Past perceived voids. People buy based off of past perceived voids, and they also purchase things based off of present perceived virtues. What exactly does that mean? Past perceived voids. I'm at this age now where I can look back and say, hey, when I was 9 years old, my parents were supposed to buy me a go-kart. Yep, a go-kart. And I wanted it. I would never forget. I kept thinking it was this big box in our living room, and I seen it. I was like, I know that's my go-kart. You can't tell me nothing else. And that's what I wanted. The day before Christmas, I went there and I kept looking at this box because I couldn't wait till the next morning that I was going to open that up and I was going to get my go-kart, I was going to put it together, my dad and I was going to ride it. Well, it turns out I never paid attention to the name on the box. The next morning, I went straight to that box to open it up. And my mom was like, wait, baby, that's not for you. And I was baffled. Now, my sister at the time was only like 5 years old, maybe 4. And it was really a power wheel for her. So I didn't get my go-kart when I was 9 years old, but when I got older, guess what I always wanted? A go-kart. So when I got with my wife, I was telling her, like, I want to get the boys a go-kart. But me having a desire to get them something and saying it was for them was really the inside desire that I still hadn't fulfilled. That past perceived void meaning I never received it, I never got it, it was still empty. It encouraged me. It was really driving my desire to want to get them a go-kart and fulfill what I had voided when I was younger. You understand? So that's a past perceived void. Now let's talk about a present perceived virtue. This is if you see something, even right now, that will help benefit your business, your company, your family, or a loved one, or just something that you look at and you desire to have is going to enhance or better your living situation, your business, anything that's going to make your current position improve or better. That's a perceived virtue. You start imagining yourself having this thing or doing this, right? And even if it's not something you never wanted in the past. So that's the biggest difference. Something that you wanted in the past that you didn't get is considered a void. Something that you see and you want in the future, that's your perceived virtue. If you can generate a past void or a future virtue for your client, you're going somewhere. Okay, guys, a quick recap. We know that if you're running a business and then it has to do with service or product, it needs to have an entry, core, and a premium for your packages. That way you know exactly how to monitor and how to keep advancing your business, what to target, how many to sell, so on and so forth. This is part of your metric system, okay? While you're selling that product or service, you need to be able to determine whether it's going to be based on the intrinsic value or the perceived value. And then lastly, we talked about past perceived voids and present perceived virtues. The reason why that's important because it helps you when you're doing your marketing. If I'm going after someone that's looking for past perceived voids, I can kind of target my market toward people that wanted something in the past and kind of do my advertisement to make them feel like they're thinking about the past or thinking about the history that they missed out on and feel like they can get now. Again, you have to look and see what it is you're selling or the product that you're offering to that client for you to determine how to make that happen. And then, of course, you have your present perceived virtues and you're advertising and marketing to someone that will be excited about the future of something happening. So if you're doing like a beauty brand or a beauty services, maybe you're doing permanent cosmetics and their brows are not in line. Maybe they have alopecia and it doesn't grow. And then you show a before and after of someone else who had the same disease, and guess what? Their brows look marvelous. You just created a present perceived virtue for that person with the before and afters. This is the reason why you see a lot of those before and after pictures everywhere. Now, if you see them all the time and it does work, how can you be creative and give the same energy and create the same and generate the same emotion to a client for a present perceived virtue? How do you do that? I have a few ideas, but I'd like to hear from you. Share, like, leave a comment. Talk to you soon.